Now at some point, if you sharpen quite a lot and you decide you really like this sort of thing, you're probably going to get tired of sandpaper and you're going to want to get some stones. Now there's all types of different stones you can use. For myself, I use these DMT diamond stones. They work really well. This is an extra coarse, a fine, and an extra fine. Now, this blade is not terrible, so I'm going to start on a coarse stone. This is Windex. Windex floats cuttings really nicely, and I tend to use it more than I do water when I use these stones. So I'm going to grab this Sharpie, and we're going to do the same thing as we did before. Now this is more or less flat, so this is not going to take a great amount of time. Your mileage is going to vary depending on how good of a deal you got. So same idea, slow. I just pull this off to the side so I don't bang my fingers. This is roughly halfway on the stone, and that's where you want to flatten. Just take a couple passes really lightly, get a little scratch pattern going. See how bad your iron is. So this one's got quite a bit going on. The back side is quite pronounced, and this is quite low. So we're going to come down. We're going to do less of the stone. So we're quite good all around this side. We've got a bit of a hollow on this side. So let's color this again. And I can't really remember how flat I got the back of this one. I just sort of went for it. So let's call this point where we're going to start. Roughly about there. Now I'm going to, with this setup, I'm going to tuck my finger as a stop so I don't go further than I want. Make sure that's going to focus. And you're going to want to try to push evenly on both sides. Even though it may not seem like it, you will push harder on one side or the other. So that's pretty damn good. I'm going to give it just a little touch more. There's something weird going on right at this point. There's still a little bit of blackness. If I can get that to focus. There. Right there. Something weird going on there. I'm just going to give this stone a little turn. Go back to a finger on each side as a stop. Sort of butt up against my stone. Well, that's pretty good. I don't really think there's much wrong with that. Maybe if I'd focus it, you could see. That's fairly flat. Now we would do the same thing with the bevel. We get a little bit of Sharpie on here. And I'm just going to slide that into the center. So what I would recommend is, if you can see this, too high, too high. Right there. Watch those bubbles. There's your bevel. I don't know what that angle is, but that's what it is. Be real nice if I'd focus it so you could see. So that would be pretty good. If that would focus, that would be great. There. So we have more or less even scratch pattern right across. Still some weirdness going on up here where it's not terribly flat, but that's not really. It's a long way from the cutting edge. We got a pretty good start. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks nice. So that would be the, what do we got here? This is the coarse stone. And when I'm done with them, I just stand them up. Rinse some of the cuttings off of them and just let them sit there. So now we'll go to the, this is the fine. And if you were going about your day just sharpening, you know, maybe twice a day you're cutting a frame or whatever you got going on, and you pull these out and they're not quite perfect, you probably don't have to go to a coarse stone. You could start on this fine. It really depends on how good your steel is. If you've got some questionable steel that maybe doesn't hold an edge as good as some other stuff, you may have to go back to the coarse stone more than you'd want. But if you stay on top of this and you begin to recognize what it feels like when that iron is not as sharp as it should be, then you can do this in a couple minutes. You know, you stop for a cup of coffee or a tea or something like that, and you pull out these stones and you give everything a quick little ride on the stones. You know, 10 minutes later you're back in action for the rest of, you know, another 3-4 hours. So what I'm looking for, if this thing would focus, it's probably not going to, there we go, is a more or less consistent scratch pattern across the entirety of the cutting edge. Now it's good that it comes most of the way back to the back here. That means the angle that I'm holding is more or less consistent. There's something sort of weird going on over here where that is just quite a bit lower than the plane I'm in right now, and I'm pretty sure with more sharpenings that will become better and better. But that scratch pattern is fine diamond stone cut. Same as back in here. This is actually really nice to me, anyways. It looks pretty good. It's a little junky back here, but I'm a couple years from that steel, so I'll worry about it then.